per usual, we got some non-mainstream news, conspiracy theory TikToks, and videos that's going to disassociate us from the indoctrination the system tried to give us, and we're going to get straight to the truth. It's a lot going on, scientists missing, half disclosure, and a lot of other things. Let's have a conversation in the comments. If it's your first time, go ahead, sub up to the channel, hit that like button, and we're going to get to this knowledge.
Global TV
Harvard
subscribe.
University discovered that chromosome number 2, human chromosome number 2, was made by fusing 2 ancestral chromosomes. And this was an artificial mutation. They put telomere caps on each side. Now, who in the world would take 2 ancestral chromosomes and fuse them together with telomere caps on the ends? Who could do such a thing? Right at the same time that in the Sumerian texts, it says that the Adapa were made. Coincidence? And what's even crazier is that chromosome 2 is responsible for the neocortex, the part of the brain which separates humans from primates.
February 19th, Obama says aliens are real on a podcast. It goes viral globally. February 20th, knee deep in the Epstein stuff. A week before the Iran stuff, Donald Trump goes, hey, look at the shiny object. I've directed the Pentagon to release UFO files. We're going to give you transparency. Trying to get the attention off the fucking story. February 27th, General McCaslin is reported to disappear in the hours before the Iran invasion. He's the wildest one of this whole case, because then shortly after that in March, the Daily Mail investigation begins. They aggregate 3 to 4 years of these separate cases. I say this because you do wonder about trying to create another potential shiny object for all of us to look at. And then people don't talk about the giant satanic pedophile ring that seemed to be operating with complete diplomatic immunity on United States soil and conducting arms deals for a super government of Bilderbergers and Rothschilds and bankers around the world to fund all the wars where we all die and everybody's happy. But hey.
So he pretty much broke it down, right? Which one is the distraction? Everything is a distraction, but in my opinion, this is part of Project 2030. This has been in works for 70 years. Let me know how y'all feel about it.
The world's going to flood, apparently, according to this naval flood map. But I want to show you something right over here that a lot of people are ignoring. You see this risen landmass beneath South America? Well, this area is known as Drake Passage, which was discovered by a man named Sir Francis Drake, who was nicknamed El Drake, which means the dragon. And in modern fantasy, the word Drake means a wingless, four-legged dragon that resembles a large predatory lizard. And while it looks like a dragon, it typically crawls on the ground, on its belly, on the dust of the earth, rather than flying, almost like it can't fly anymore. And if a landmass like that was to rise, you would have catastrophic earthquakes, collapses in land masses, and flooding all over the world. But today, I want to focus in on the United States of Babylon the Great.
There's already some government fuckery going on in these UFO files. Check it out. So even on CBS News, they showed this star UFO. There's this big mystery. It looks all crazy, right? But it's actually a flare, and you can see the parachute connected to the flare, and the star effect is a camera artifact. Mick West debunked this like a year ago. In the files, they're like, oh, here's a picture of a real alien. It's from an April Fool's joke in some newspaper, some Austrian or German newspaper. My opinion is this is like out of the government fuckery playbook. You got to put in fake stuff with real stuff to just confuse it all and make it all kind of meaningless. You know, I'm starting to think there might be some liars in the government.
Let me get a consensus in the comments. Where are we at? Are they aliens? Are they demons? Interterrestrial? Extraterrestrial? Ultra? How we feel about it? Let's have a conversation right now. Spam it up.
Language you were never taught to read. Cathedrals, monuments, even dollar bills. Everything is written in sacred geometry. This isn't aesthetics. It's frequency engineering. The ancient masters and hidden orders understood. Form shapes energy. The golden ratio is the barcode of creation. The system uses this geometry to capture your attention and channel your energy into their egregores. They want you living inside gray concrete boxes, disconnected from the divine proportions of nature. Outside of sacred geometry is to live in disharmony, and a soul in disharmony is a weakened soul. Recognizing these patterns is reclaiming the key to the temple not made of stone, but of light. It's like the code is everywhere. You just need eyes.
Wishing each other happy birthday, happy anniversary is a ritual satanic rite. We're literally repeating the idea of entropy in our blood. So every time we calculate years on a Gregorian satanic calendar and look at the clock and see it ticking and, oh my God, we're running out of time. I'm 1 year older, one closer to the grave. If we believe that sufficiently at the collective level, that becomes the manifest reality. That is quantum science, and we understand enough about quantum mathematics, apparently, to realize that we should move beyond programming death into our DNA.
I wholeheartedly feel that's true. Never celebrated, even since I was a child. My mother, father must have knew something was significant there. I found out later. Make sure y'all do the same thing. Everything has equal meaning to it, especially when it comes out your mouth.
What's supposedly happening to Earth right now? The Earth is separating. We're going to be going into a completely different dimension. And by raising the frequency and the vibrations of the Earth, it's going to shift into this new dimension. And this is the greatest show on Earth, because they said all the beings, all the universes are watching, because this has never happened in any universe anywhere, that an entire planet shift into a new dimension. And when this happens, it's like two Earths, as though they split. The old Earth is left behind with all the negativity and all the chaos, and the new Earth is separated and will be totally new. It'll be beautiful. And for all the individuals who've raised the vibrations and frequencies of their bodies, they're going to shift into the new Earth, and that's you. You're on it. And so everyone's in the comments has been saying, yeah, what about this? What about that? That's all the old Earth dismantling itself. And when you shift in this new dimension, you're not going to experience that anymore.
Talk about celebrities, plastic surgery, and Ozempic. So I recently saw a couple of images of these celebrities, and one of the things that I've seen for a number of years now is that the trend of plastic surgery, especially to the face, was sort of a program created by the shadow governments to cover up their clones. Oh, don't worry about that. That's just bad plastic surgery. So everyone talks about the plastic surgery and not the fact that the person is very different in other ways. So that being said, now there's this whole Ozempic movement, which obviously is scary for a number of reasons. But these celebrities are not only just looking very skinny, concerningly skinny, and plastic surgeryed out, but they're looking older. And as I came across one of these photos of a celebrity, couldn't tell you which one, this thought came to me. What if, all of a sudden, their source of adrenochrome and other things has run out, and the individuals who used to consume other individuals and blood for reverse aging and health and wellness are now out of supplies. So I looked into it, of course, and I confirmed it. Because their supplies are running out, they're looking for other ways to look younger.
That woman right there giving that information is a remote viewer. Her name is April. I take what she says with a grain of salt. Why would it be getting short right now? There's still the same amount of little people missing. How's the supply running out? And she confirmed it. We're doing, but she never stated anything.
A lot of people are not going to believe this because a lot of people need something to believe in. But one of the reasons why those pastors was called to have that meeting to be debriefed on what was inside of the UFO files before they were dropped is because of what was exposed inside of the files. Now, I know that a lot of people have been talking about the photos that was in the files, but a lot of people are not talking about the information that was in the files. In so many words, they were pretty much saying that the Anunnaki is real. Not only are they real, they created mankind. In addition to that, they created religion. They are the people who gave us the 10 Commandments. They are the people who created this whole story about Noah's Ark, right? So when you think about it, once people congregations or pastors congregations get whiff of this information and start figuring this thing out and putting two and two together, right, they are going to go crazy. It's going to put them in a place where they are just hysterical, right? So with that being said, I believe that the meeting was so that they could get ahead of this, because all hell is possibly going to break loose after this information is released. Let me just say this, right? A lot of people are not going to believe this information because we have been lied to for so long. And I feel like that's exactly where they want us to be. That's exactly the position they want us to be in. Because here's the thing, right? There is something called universal law. They have to tell us. Not only that, I believe that we are coming to an end of a timeline, and we are moving and shifting to the beginning of a whole new timeline. And in order for that to happen, things have to be reset. And in order for things to be reset, a lot of things have to end. A lot of things have to be dismantled. And that is what we are seeing, y'all. I'm going to end this video. Like I said before, it is document 14, page 6. If you have not read it, please go and do the research for yourself.
Global Mafia, let's get real here. Are we going to take the word 100% from the same people that lied to us about the existence of what they're talking about for 70 years? I'm not too sure. Let me know if you're on board with that. Who you going to put your trust in? And the real true believers, I don't really think are going to be affected. The great deception is supposed to happen.
Running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. There are two lines of reality in the world. In one reality, you are believing everything that they tell you, and you can't understand why things are so crazy. Those people who want to live in that denial, they are being battered by experience, they are being battered by information, they are being battered by consciousness, and they are seeing all of these things come in to their reality, whether they like it or not. Those of us in the truth community say, we don't understand why people can't conceptualize such simple things. This is simple information. Why can't you understand something that's so easy? Please try to have more compassion for these people who are suffering and understand that it has nothing to do with the simplicity of the concept. The concept is very simple. Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. Anyone could theoretically be a philosopher and say, well, I don't believe this, and it makes me scared, and it makes me feel unsafe. But hypothetically, theoretically, maybe perhaps just in case, what if it's real? Your maturation is the awakening that you are in a hero's journey, that there is a huge villain, and you better get off your ass and fight him before he kills you. That's what's so hard to understand. The alchemy of the galaxy, the alchemy of Jesus Christ, is that you will become like him. John 14:12, as I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things. So when we're looking at the possibility of liberating ourselves from the suffering that so many people have, it ultimately comes with the understanding that you cannot die. You cannot die. You are not threatened by anything. You have nothing to worry about. And this whole entire world, as traditional as it seems to be, is actually a reality construct. It's not real. It's an illusory reality. That's the awakening. That's why people have a hard time seeing something that, oh, it's so simple. Why can't they see it? It's such an easy thing to understand. No, it's a paradigm shift. It's coming to realize that everything you ever thought was true in your life is a freaking lie.
This was a rehash of some things that Elon said in a Lex Fridman interview. After 2027, there will be no way back. Elon Musk said this in a podcast with Lex Fridman, a line that was later cut. When asked why, he fell silent for almost a minute.
Fuck, that's a scary minute.
Then he quietly said, shout out to Lex for letting him sit there with that. That's pretty heavy. Then he quietly said, it's not a catastrophe, it's a transition. The transcript left behind 3 themes that gave him away: autonomous intelligence, loss of meaning, and energy independence. It all sounded like a forecast, but now reads like a diagnosis of the era. The first sign is the collapse of attention. Musk said humanity will stop thinking in cycles. Planning for the future will shrink to the horizon of updates. That line hits me hard. People will stop building and start simply replacing. MIT research confirms a generation born after 2000 holds attention for about 8 seconds, less than a goldfish. I used to say that to Alessi, but he's gotten a lot better now. Musk called this cultural Alzheimer's. We're not losing memory, we're losing the ability to think. The second sign is artificial intelligence that no longer obeys. Musk says when a system starts correcting humans, that time of linear logic is over. Even now, algorithms decide who we date, what we buy, and what we think about. This isn't a machine uprising, it's dissolution into convenience. People won't notice the moment when choice becomes an option, not a right. The third sign is energy dependence. Musk explains civilization can no longer survive even a day without electricity. By 2027, here it is, in his view, the balance will shift. Energy will become currency and control over it will become power. From that moment on, everything non-autonomous will disappear. This isn't an apocalypse, it's a change of biological form. At the end, he said a line that didn't make it on air. Technology is stronger than us, but not smarter. As long as we have meaning, we are alive. Lose it and we become code. Then, after a pause, he added, we must learn to be human before systems learn to be gods. Fuck. Are you ready for the transition or already living in a world where choices are made for you?
That right there almost was prophetic. That aged very well. But see, Elon prepares for the future, thinks ahead, and doesn't leave things to chance. He didn't get that far by doing that.
A lot of things that I'm too even afraid to mention on TikTok, even though they were mentioning about TikTok, but the fact that, you know, and I've said this before, I remember saying this back in school days, but television is literally tell a vision, and history is his story. So then the history channel that's on television, you're telling a vision of his story. Then you have to ask is who is his, who is he? And then you go down the lineages of the 13 original bloodlines, and then you find out a name. We all heard of the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, but then you find out that they're actually, nope, there's somebody above them too. And then you look into the whole thing of being a Grey Pope, and then you say, oh, what's a Grey Pope? And then you look at the name Pepe Osiris, and then you look at the family lineage of the Osiris family, and then you realize that there's 13 family names that you've never even heard of, that the people like Rockefellers and Rothschilds that we think actually run things answer to. Yeah, and then you have the whole the L, and everybody's name, like Mike L. Jordan, Mike L. Phelps, Tiger Woods. His name isn't even Tiger Woods. It's Elton Torch something. It's E.L. Kelly Slater. He's like the best surfer of all time. L. Lee Slater. Dude, Lionel Messi, one of the best soccer players to ever live. I'm not saying, and then even in the Bible it says how they have 4 faces and their feet are like the hooves of a calf, and then they're shape-shifting into 4 separate people, which you can almost track down and find because you can find their scar tissue scars that match up, that they really can't hide because they can't shape-shift scar tissue damage or just tissue damage in general. LN, the biggest show on television for a while was Stranger Things, and the main character's name was L11, and it was talking about transdimensional beings and portals, and it's almost as if they're throwing it in our face. And then you look at the Olympic gold medals, and they're look like wings with their things, and then you turn one upside down, it almost looks like they're fallen angels. And then you got, and then you have the different moon phases in the firmament, which I know the firmament exists because the Bible says it does, but then you realize that the sun and the moon are within the firmament, which is why we never actually go to space, because we can't leave it because of the firmament, which is why all the, photos of said space missions are completely photoshopped. You can tell they're AI or CGI or whatever it is. They don't even try to hide it, which is also why you never even see stars in any of the pictures of space when they're in space. Like, you would think, we're told light pollution is the reason we can't see that many stars at night, but yet, so you would think when you go into the endless infinity of the vacuumless pit of darkness where there is no light pollution, you would think that the entire sky would be nothing but stars, but they can't do that, because if they did that, then they could use those stars to pinpoint their exact location of where that picture was taken, which would then prove that they were on Earth when they took it, because we can't leave Earth because of the 5 a.m. I was up till 5 a.m. Okay, I got a lot of learning to do. I'm late to the party, but I'm at the party now. So
I felt every one of those. Shout out to bro. Welcome to your journey. Welcome to the global mafia, where we share information, we get knowledge, and go further. We just want the truth, not the set of lies that was agreed upon. Let's have a conversation in the comments. That was a hard compilation. We're gonna keep going further. If you made it this far, put soldier, global soldier in the comments. Pop out the intellectual street thoughts on Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I am Cash, capital K, $ for the S.
I've been ambivalent. I'm trying to make a decision.